Okay, awesome. My name is Annette Martinez-Smith. I'm one of the career specialists here at Escoffier Career Services Department. So welcome to the Think Like an Employer workshop. And this is just something to actually help you to kind of understand the mindset of the employer. And this might be a reminder to you all, which is awesome, to be able to just kind of make sure that we're on the same page with how we communicate in directly with employers in person, on our resume, in writing, in job applications and interviews. And also, one of the objectives is to improve our ability to be able to communicate what our value is in the industry. We want to make sure that we're always making that best impression and using the best use of our time, even if it's just a few minutes, to be able to express our accomplishments, our achievements, our skills, even if it's outside the industry. So if you have industry experience, great, but if you don't, maybe you're a career changer, maybe you're setting yourself up for a business on the side that you would like to be able to devote more time with down the line, it's still good to know what employers value in the industry. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Awesome, so on the agenda, we're going to talk about really how to maximize our communication, what really is important to employers, and then matching what the employers want with what we offer, and making sure that we're always trying to be in the mindset of what's important to the employer, and then matching that to our value. All right, so we definitely want to bridge the gap between communication. And so I wanted you to see a little bit of a diagram here on what a big communication gap is here. So if we look on the left-hand side of the screen, it's going to be like what I need. As an applicant, I maybe have a restricted schedule. I can only work on certain days, and I don't work on certain days. I need so many hours a week where I can't work more than 25, that type of thing. I just want a place to practice my skills, and what I need is maybe a certain amount of pay. So that's kind of like our perspective. We're looking at what we need, and that's okay, but we need to keep in mind what the employer's perspective is, and so that's what this diagram shows. The employer's perspective is they want someone who's available. They want someone who's dependable, who can show up. And, you know, how do they work? Do they work clean? Are they organized? And will they take care of the food like they paid for it? Will they be able to make sure that our customer experience is really number one? So we see that here, if we keep in the perspective of, say, that left-hand side, the way it's working in our minds, we can see that there's going to be a big communication gap between what we want over here and what the employer's perspective over here. So that's what we're going to talk about, is really how to really close that gap. Okay, so here we're looking at change our communication focus to include more employer speak. So here it's showing definitely we're actually learning to kind of bridge the gap here. So we want to be able to use the employer's frame of reference. And I try to always think of it this way. Don't think of the terms of, you know, what you want in terms of basically what you can't do. I want you to be in the mindset of what you can do. And so that's going to be really, really important, to focus on what you can do and what you do have available as far as your skills and your talents. So if we look at the applicant's quotations to the left of the screen, it's going to say, I'm available 7 days a week. I am highly dependable. My motto is clean as you go. Food cost management is so important. Now we're going to see how the employer is actually receiving the message. If we say we are available on certain days, the employer is actually going to hear that as, okay, this person's willing to work. If you say, you know, I'm highly dependable, this is something that I have a verifiable record of, the employer is interpreting that as, okay, this person isn't going to call off. This person is mature enough to be able to know that we're running a business. The left side, it says my motto is I clean as I go. So you know that about yourself, that you're organized and you know what to do. And the employer is actually thinking of it in terms of, great, this is reducing training time. If you know that food cost management is important, then the employer is going to interpret that as my wallet is their wallet. So they know, bottom line, that this is a business that we're running. And so we're seeing now in the diagram this communication gap close here. It's starting to close. So again, we're getting into the mindset of what we can do, putting first what we are able to do, and what's important to us should be what is important to the employer. Bottom line, business. All right. Okay, so we have the communication connection, and that's what we're talking about here. Closing that gap. All right, now here is some business metrics. What is the employer interested in? Bottom line, employers want to make money, they want to save money. And so you want to put yourself in that mindset of, which area am I presenting to the employer? Am I making money for the employer, or am I saving money for the employer? So one thing, you don't want to present yourself as skills that are wasting employers' time. You want to be able to be in the buckets of saving money or making money for the employer. And that can come in how you approach things, just like we talked about with the communication skills. So this is what employers are interested in: definitely increasing cost, increasing sales, decreasing costs, reducing waste, improving throughput, minimizing turnover, improving teamwork, enhancing consistency, maintaining cleanliness, maximizing customer satisfaction, and minimizing overtime. So all of this breaks down to an employer wants to make money and save money. So this is the area that when you're ever presenting yourself to an employer, you want to fall within those two categories. If you're not, you're wasting time, and you want to make sure that you're always putting that first, because business does come first. It's the real world. Okay, go on to the next one. All right, so to achieve the business metrics, employers want hard skills. So they want to know what you can do. You want to definitely put forth what those hard skills are. Do you have knife skills? Do you have good prepping skills? Do you know proper mise en place? Do you know how to set up stations properly? Do you know some cooking techniques? Cooking techniques are like grilling, broiling, poaching, roasting, blanching, you know, all those types of things, searing, all of those things. Equipment familiarity. Do you have kitchen ID, equipment ID? When you walk into a kitchen, would you know how to ID certain equipment? That's something that's going to be important as a hard skill. Kitchen terminology. Do you know kitchen terminology? That's going to be important. Recipe scaling. Do you know how to scale a recipe? You know, maybe it's not advanced knowledge or advanced proficiency, but you kind of understand the basics of that. And then when it comes to, if someone's on the dessert side or baking side, maybe decorating consistency, baking techniques as well. Sanitation knowledge, that's always going to come into play. Is you should have safety, and sanitation is number one in the kitchen. Safety awareness, product identification as well. So do you know basic herbs and spices? Do you know the basic mother sauces? You don't have to know daughter sauces, but you know, you want to make sure that you know the basis for sauces, which are mother sauces. You want to get down to the basics. And all of these hard skills are really the basics in the industry. This is not something that is kitchen manager or sous chef level, but this is the basics. And when you get the basics down and you can practice that and you know it over and over again, you're going to be very, very valuable, very employable to employers. So these are the basic hard skills. All right, so now we're going to talk about transferable skills, and these are what we call soft skills. So these are things that really you're not taught in school, but even if you come from a background that doesn't have culinary or baking background or industry background, maybe you're a career changer, maybe you're going to start your own business, these are soft skills that are going to help you be successful, whether you're in the industry or starting your own business. Being open to criticism, that's a really, really big deal. I have students that have gotten fired instantly because they're not open to criticism or open to feedback. I have gotten students promoted and hired really easily because they are open to criticism. They're open to feedback. And so if you're new in the industry, or even if you're just continuing, it's really important that you are open to feedback in the industry, because number one, it comes down to the customer. Once you understand that and you get that this industry is all about the customer, then you are able to take feedback well, you're able to have an attention to detail, you're able to reduce your stress and really be decisive under pressure, be able to adjust to changing priorities in the kitchen, have that commitment, communication, enthusiasm, leadership, organization, teamwork, and thoroughness. If you've showed any of these traits in your past professional experiences, you are going to be awesome. You're going to be fantastic in the industry. So the industry definitely is going to be opened up to you for opportunities if you have these soft skills. And it really doesn't matter from what industry that you're taking that from, because this is something that you really come with and you develop on your own. It's not something that school is going to teach you. School's going to teach you hard skills, and your soft skills are something that's going to come with maturity and your passion for the industry. All right, so definitely in externship, it's a time that your supervisor, your designated supervisor, is going to have a time to gauge and really rate your skills in these areas. And hard skills are one part and soft skills are another part that you'll be rated in. So every single week when you turn in your timesheet, your supervisor is going to be gauging you on how well that you're developing. 6 weeks isn't a long period of time, but it is the time that you should have a little bit of improvement in those areas. So that's something that is going to be important even in externship to show. All right, so where do you find each employer's version of employer speak? So this is where we find it, is in job descriptions. And so that is something that really gives you an idea as to what is important to the employer. This is the employer's wish list. So looking at job postings is going to help you with where you want to be, where you need to be, and what is valued by the employer. So looking at the overview of, say, this food service worker that Sodexo is and general responsibilities, that's going to be something that's important for you. If we look at and just dissect the food service worker for Sodexo posting, we've kind of highlighted some areas that you want to pay attention to. So when you see under general responsibilities, you're seeing reads recipes, able to weigh, measure, mix, wash, peel, cut, grind, stir, strain, season, and knead foodstuffs. So that's all something that's basic. Properly storing foods, knowing the FIFO rule, keeping records, following rules and procedures, basic cooking, and safety and risk management policies, being able to follow that. All of that is basic. All of that is fundamental. And your program is preparing you in a formal way to be able to exercise those fundamental skills. Very important for the employer. They love it when people understand and know how to practice the fundamentals. Now in the skills aptitude section that Sodexo would put out is positive attitude, effective communication and professionalism, and unsupervised, meaning you're able to manage yourself within the kitchen and tasks, being able to adapt in the kitchen, open to learning, having high standards, being flexible with the schedule. If you need to work overtime or you need to work beyond your shift to help the team during a service or something like that, you're able to do that. Complying with some dress code requirements, and maybe open to working nights, weekends, some holidays. So here, if we look at it, we've kind of highlighted dissecting the job posting, and now you get a feel for what a corporate international company like Sodexo, what is important to them. It's not a secret what's important. They put it all out here in writing. So that's something that we want to keep in mind. And the reason why is because we want to be able to close the gap between what we communicate in writing and what this employer is asking for. That's going to be important. That's what we're trying to do, is close that gap, because when they can see you as meeting majority, most of it, you may not meet 100% of what they're looking for, but the majority of it, then it's going to be better for you to be able to solidify a position. If we look at this pastry cook, it's kind of the same thing for pastry, same thing for culinary, that attention to detail, creativity. We're highlighting what's important to the employer. And so we're seeing that all of this is basic fundamentals, professional knowledge, sanitation principles, food preparation, baking techniques, knowledge of baking with certain ingredients, a certificate of culinary arts, pastry making, baking is preferred, so that's always a good to have. A serve safe, preferred but not required. So when you're in a program and you're doing an externship, that is something that is really valuable to the employer, because that means that you have gotten formal education in the fundamentals. All right, so we have a tool actually that we'd like to share with you, and this is an employer speak skills finder, and this is something that you can actually use for yourself in order to gauge what were things that you have achieved in the past that would be valuable for employers in the industry. That's what this cheat sheet for you is for. And this is something that I'm going to make available to you after the workshop. I'm going to go ahead and send you your very own copy of this so that you can document and you can help yourself in the best way possible. It's looking at what were your performance goals, what skills did you use to meet or exceed them, what are you known for on the job site, what would fall apart if you weren't at your job for a week, how did you become the first, best, or most effective in any particular function, how did you regularly meet your deadlines, and if you messed up, how was the business affected? And I like to think, if you messed up, what did you do about it? You know, that's really important too, because you're going to make mistakes, just like on any job site in the kitchen, you're going to make mistakes, but what you do about it is really going to show a lot about who you are and your character. So this is a tool that's definitely going to be beneficial for you to actually look at, write out, and you can highlight that on your resume or your cover letter. All right, using employer speak, this is what gets us heard and hired. My most successful students and happiest graduates are the ones that have really understood that at the bottom line is the business is there to make money, and number one in the industry is the customer experience. Conveying that is the communication connection. And so you can say, I have, on the left-hand side, used a variety of kitchen equipment in fry, broil, and pantry station. And then on the right side, you can see that an employer would be looking for someone who has that knowledge. If you've worked within a team before and you've done very well in a high-performing team, awesome. The employer views that as you're a team player. You're able to contribute to goals, awesome. And then if you executed consistent knife skills and you've done that well, the employer appreciates that. They're looking at you as someone who has proficient knife skills and who could be accurate and consistent. Use knife skills to produce consistent menu items and plate presentations. If you've done that, the employer sees that as a high standard for plate presentation. That's something that's important. So we're seeing that that communication gap is really closing. Now you're talking the employer's language on what's important to them in that kitchen. All right, so we've come to the end of the presentation, and I wanted to see and open it up if anybody has any questions or things that they want to contribute or they'd like me to address. Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead, Everett.
Now, on my resume, I've been a truck driver for 13 years.
Okay.
I had kitchen experience for 5 years plus 1 year culinary arts at my local college.
Awesome.
How, since the trucking took 13 years, you know, after my cooking and my culinary arts, how will I do that on a resume to show them, you know, not just only that I was a truck driver, I also have cooking.
Awesome. And you know what, and that's where that's really where your career service representative comes into play for you. So what we can do is we formally review your resume and actually do a formal review of your resume, and we'll talk with you about it and give you assistance and guidance in actually formulating your resume to, even though you have 13 years of experience in trucking, that's awesome. It shows you have some commitment, shows you have consistency. You definitely know how to be a professional in the industry, and you wouldn't have lasted that long if you weren't contributing to some team goals and employers' goals of business. And so all of that said, what you need is you need a formal review of your resume, and we can definitely tailor it to it being culinary focused. So that's where you want to make the leap in your resume. So it's awesome that you have that living document out with your education, where you've been, and what we can do as your career services representative can take it to another level. We can definitely help you to make it culinary driven. And that's what I help a lot of students do, is actually create a resume that is more culinary driven, culinary focused, where the secondary information on your resume is the fact that you've been in trucking for 13 years. So we want to kind of we can manipulate your resume so that it is more culinary driven, and when it's seen, there's a lot of your skills that you know, that you've been educated and that you've practiced even on your own with friends or family, doesn't matter who, but that you can do, that you've been exposed to. So we can definitely make it more culinary focused, and that's one of the services that we give to you as your career rep.
Okay, and on the externship, I work a full-time job. Sometimes 10 hours a day.
Okay.
6 days a week.
Okay.
How can I do the externship and still keep a full-time job? Because I'm the only one that brings money into the family.
Okay, and so what we'd like to do is, I think it would be really good for you to attend. Every career rep has a schedule for externship labs, and they also can have a one-on-one with you, Everett. So your career rep can actually talk to you one-on-one about your circumstance, specifically about your circumstance, and be able to assist you and help you with maybe some options for you. But that's what your career rep is there for. So my recommendation would be attend an externship lab that your career rep hosts. They host them almost every day of the week. And try to, if you can't attend one of those, that's fine, but get a one-on-one with your career rep so that you can specifically talk about your own circumstance and personal schedule when it comes to externship time. so that you're prepared ahead of time, seeing if there's something that you can do to prepare ahead of time, and we will help you with the area that you're in, and we'll help you with employer reach out as well. And we'll even look in your area to see if we have any connection with any employers.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. So definitely a one-on-one with your career rep, I'm going to recommend to you for sure.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you're welcome. And Michelle, how can I help you?
How exactly do you schedule a one-on-one with your career?
Super easy. If you don't know their number, you can definitely go to careerservices@escoffier.edu. You can send an email directly there to say, I would like to talk with my career representative. I would like to have a one-on-one to talk about externship and talk about my own personal circumstances and how that would work out. And your career rep will reach right back out to you and get you scheduled for a one-on-one. So they could talk specifically to you. I always suggest a one-on-one just so that you can have that time and they could protect that time for you, but really give you the service that you need for sure in preparing for that externship time. So these are just some of the career services that we offer to you as a resource, whether it be goal setting, externship preparation, job leads. We definitely give you some coaching when it comes to what you want to do and help you make the best use of your externship so that you benefit even beyond your post-graduation time. Awesome. All right, if there's no other questions for now, and you know how to contact your representative right there through the email that's on the screen, careerservices@escoffier.edu, that message will get directly to your career rep so that you could start planning with your career rep. That's what we're here for. And that's what we would like you to do. And we will meet you at a time. A phone call meeting is fine at a time and day that works for your schedule. Okay, well, I thank you so much, Everett and Michelle, for joining me today, and I wish you the best of luck. We're here to help you and do anything that we can to help you not only complete the program, but really have it benefit you after for post-graduation career goals. All right, thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.